Hi class, in this video we're going to do a little visual note taking and we'll break down the composition of the Last Supper using some simple geometric shapes, and I'll talk to you about the artist's use of perspective. So first, draw a rectangle as big as your hand at least, and then within that rectangle draw another thinner rectangle towards the bottom. And then on top of that rectangle, we're going to put a window. And what I'm drawing for you, it's a very simple rendition of the Last Supper. It doesn't include all the details. So you've got your rectangle sitting on top of this thin one, and then from each corner extend a line to the corner of the outer box. And then right in the center, draw a triangle. And mark the top of that triangle with a dot. That is your vanishing point. It is also your focal point. So the vanishing point, this is the point where all of the diagonal lines within the artwork are going to recede. And remember, these diagonals, the fancy term for them is orthogonal. Okay, so the orthogonal lines radiate out from the vanishing point, just like the spokes on a bicycle wheel. All right, so you've got your orthogonal lines descending from the ceiling, and you've got them on either side of your focal point. And what I'd like you to do, off to the left, draw two parallel lines and then connect them. And right next to that, draw two more parallel lines. Notice how I've spaced them slightly further apart. Okay, these are the tapestries hanging on the wall inside the picture plane of the Last Supper. So as they get closer to us, they're getting larger, right? That helps to suggest the space. And I've got three colors here. If you have your colored pencils, get red, green, and yellow. And this is just going to help you to define the space a little bit more and make some sense of it. Because we're going to do 4 more things, and it might get a little cluttered, so I find the color helps to break up the space. All right, so right here in the center, this is our focal point. This is where the figure of Christ goes. And Da Vinci was so methodical with his placement of the figures that even though there's some disorder in the scene as everyone reacts to him saying that someone will betray him, all of the figures, they're grouped into these implied triangles. And even if they're not looking at him, like the figures on the right-hand side, they look out of the picture, but they gesture back towards him. So the implied line of their gesture leads us back to the focal point. It reinforces Christ as the central focal point. And the fact that the artist used these triangular groupings, triangles are a very stable shape, help to create and maintain order within the scene. Now, you may have noticed in looking at this painting that behind the figure of Christ, there's some windows. There's actually 3 windows. And we can see the outside world. So beyond the interior of the room, there's the outside world. That's pretty characteristic of Renaissance art. They use the architecture to organize the space, to help reinforce the depth. But even when we're inside, we're still seeing the outside. This very simple drawing shows you how the artist utilized not only linear perspective, but simple repeating geometric shapes to create a very pleasing and harmonious composition. If we split this directly in half, you'll find that it's pretty much a mirror image, and that's also one of the things that helps it to maintain its feeling of stability and order.